I've collected Minecraft 1.20's 25 rarest villages. We've got a sea city in the middle of the ocean, a house deep down in a cave, and the craziest monument village ever. There's not a single seed you could afford to miss. Starting with a beautiful village that comes with some insane surprises. The village sits in a cherry grove mountain valley. With the falling petals and snowy peak views, you've got a truly serene location for trading and farming. There's even an igloo that will lead you down to a secret basement, as well as an ancient city if you were to extend the ladders down even further. And that's not the only surprise under the village. You can also find a stronghold where a geode has collided with an end portal that luckily still works. This village has so many great features both below and above the surface. Now let's head to an epic village survival island in the middle of the ocean. You won't have to sail far to find it, because this is exactly where you'll spawn in this seed. The great thing about this one is the fact that it comes with 3 blacksmiths, giving you a nice head start to your ocean adventure. I ended up with a full set of iron gear and even a few diamonds. Let me know what loot your island has. Here's another loot-filled spawn where a jungle village has combined with 3 other structures. There's a ruined portal that has merged with some of the houses, a pillager outpost watching over the village's every move, and a jungle temple where hidden treasures are suspended above the ground. This crazy generation has created a nice jungle temple archway into the village. And have you ever seen a villager stuck in netherrack before? You might need to load this one up and give him a hand. Check out this seed where you can find a house inside of a mountain. Have you ever seen a house this deep down in a cave? If I was this villager, I'd be very worried about vitamin D deficiency. Not to mention the amount of mobs you'll have chasing you every time you step foot out of the door. Maybe you can come along and light up this place. Keep the villager company, craft some underground farms, and forge a path that reconnects this house to the mountaintop village above. Welcome to an amazingly generated savannah village that kind of resembles a llama if you look at it from the right angle. Once you spawn, you'll also notice that parts of the village run into the swamp, meaning that your quest for mending books just got a little easier. Glance up to the sky and you'll spot another part of the village sits on top of an awe-inspiring overhang. Slowly make your way up the waterfalls till you reach the top where you can plan how you're going to bridge across to the Llama Mountain. Now let's head deep into the bamboo jungle, where an extraordinary rare village has been discovered. It's the first time we've ever seen a village entirely inside of a bamboo biome before. So if you're a fan of bamboo wood and jungle villages, this could be a really fun village to settle in. The dense vegetation also means that the village is well protected, so if you need a safe sanctuary to hide from the creatures of the night, this is the place to come. The total opposite of safety is what you'll find in this next seed, where a glitched sinkhole village has been taken over by a pillager outpost and crashing waterfalls. While the iron golem takes care of the pillagers, see if you can excavate these floating trail ruins, or even see if you can make it to the top of this crazy terrain which definitely shouldn't exist. This has got to be the biggest waterfall you'll ever jump down. We've got an even more chaotic sinkhole village coming up later, so if this is your thing, stick around to the end. This seed has a snow village with the most convenient igloo ever. The village is separated into 2 levels, and the igloo's extended basement allows you to easily get from one part of the village to the other. Simply break a few blocks and you've got a village with a set of ladders that couldn't be more perfectly positioned. What are the chances of that? So if you're into rescuing villagers, relaxing by the campfire, and ice skating on a large frozen lake, this is a super chill village seed that you need to try out this winter. Up next is a village with the most beautiful lake backdrop. It's a dream village for archaeologists, as the village's paths lead you right to some trail ruins by the shore of the lake. Could you imagine brushing up treasure in a more picturesque location? There's also some inviting caves to explore, and if you head to the center of the lake, you'll find an incredibly long pillager outpost, as well as a sinkhole with hidden aquifers and exposed mine shafts. Speaking of hidden features, wait till you see the secret room which you can find under this jungle temple. In this seed, you spawn in a temple village on the edge of some amazing warm biomes, including an eroded Badlands Valley and a jungle full of exposed dripstone caves. Head into the temple, and as you walk down the stairs, you'll immediately notice a ruined portal room has generated directly below the temple. The room has even given you easy access to the temple's treasure, meaning you can quickly grab yourself some wild armor trims. Here's another incredible lake village with stunning surroundings. As you approach this village, you can't help but be in awe of the cherry grove that circles this floating town. It could be the most beautiful village location ever if it wasn't for the broken terrain generation in the middle of the lake. There's even a shipwreck that has overridden some of the village's farms and trapped a villager in their house. Free the villager and do some terraforming, and this could be the perfect village seed. If you ever wanted to farm bones and visit the end from the same place, this is the village seed for you. Above the surface, you'll find a desert village with both a blacksmith and a desert temple, meaning there's plenty of loot to be had. Dig down and you'll drop into an end portal room, which so very nearly generated with a double dungeon. Unfortunately, one's been chopped in half, but the skeleton spawner behind the portal is fully functionable. How about spawning in a deep mountain dome that contains both a village and a woodland mansion? If you're after a secluded life without any interference, you couldn't ask for a better spawn than this. You've got a beautiful plot of forested land, a luxurious mansion ready for you to move into, and an entire town to trade with, all protected by the surrounding jagged peaks. The village climbs steeply up the peaks, leading you to a gap in the mountains. Forge a path through the village and create a gateway up here for when you're ready to leave for adventures. We've seen a few floating lake villages with some added craziness, but sometimes simpler is better. This poppy-filled village calmly floats in the middle of a large lake surrounded by meadows, mountains, and forests of all kinds. It doesn't get much chiller than this. If you were out exploring in your survival world and stumbled across this, you'd immediately know you'd found something special. Craft a path from the village that leads out to the jungle, or even a tunnel that winds up through the mountains. The possibilities are endless. This next village is special not because of what's in it, or even around it, but what you can find floating high up in the sky above it. Take a look up from this desert village and you'll find the first ever flying ruined portal. There must be a reason for why it's generated up this high. There's got to be something special in the nether that this portal leads to. But before you check that out, the village also has some allays to rescue close by, desert temples to loot, and a dense mangrove swamp to explore. Still to come, we've got an entire sea city right at spawn, a chaotic ocean monument village, and another village that comes with an already complete end portal. The best villages are coming up. While we've seen a lot of lucky villages on this list, this village may just be the unluckiest. Dig down below this hillside savannah village and you'll be excited to find a stronghold. But disappointment will soon take over when you find that the end portal has been perfectly chopped in half by an abandoned mineshaft. But to make up for it, the village comes with epic mountain views and a large cave under the houses for you to build your base. This seed spawns you next to a circular snow biome that's completely surrounded by swamp. With a village perfectly centered in the middle, it's the perfect opportunity to craft a giant snow globe full of snow villagers. Just imagine a huge glass dome covering the village with doors that lead you out to all of the witch huts and ruined portals that you can find on the edge of the swamp. Another completed 12-eye portal has been discovered near spawn, giving you a super easy route to the end dimension. This time, it's conveniently been found under one of Minecraft's most beautiful villages. Rise up through the dripstone caverns to the plains village that is generated inside of a cherry grove and sunflower-filled crater. With villagers to trade with, a beautiful location for building, and an end portal ready to jump into, it doesn't get much better than this. Hope you're not afraid of heights, because this seed spawns you up high on a max height mountain. If you can, make your way down safely and you'll find a village nestled into the mountain slopes. The village is abandoned, but with enough work, you could restore it into a calm and peaceful mountain retreat. Build a path down to the ocean where you can find more villages along the coast, including this one that's full of cherry blossom. This spawn village gives you a house with an incredible jungle temple extension. When you enter this house, you can actually walk right into the temple. You don't need to break any blocks. It generated like this. You can also find a ruined portal next to the village and a ton of rare jungle villagers. Head up the steep stony peak slopes and you'll spot another village just around the corner. Some perfect places to build and loads of new biomes to explore. From a perfect temple village to a perfect witch hut village, this seed actually spawns you on top of a witch hut that's connected to both a house and a church to create a brand new, never before seen structure. This spawn village is also full of frogs and swamp villagers, meaning that it's the perfect village for getting your hands on some mending books. There's also some crazy windswept terrain next to the village for you to explore and construct a base. This seed spawns you on the edge of a wooded badlands. Rise above the trees and you'll spot something you have to explore. Take a closer look and you'll find an absolutely insane Badlands lake where a village, an ocean monument, a sinkhole, and sky-high aquifers combine. There are houses levitating above the monument, houses hidden behind waterfalls, and even parts of the village that have generated underneath the monument. This village seed is truly unexplainable. Let's go from an ocean monument village to an ocean ruins village. This seed spawns you on a frozen ocean village island where villagers have decided to build their houses on the site of some old ocean ruins. The ruins have combined with many of the houses, resulting in some interesting interior design. If you're looking to brush up some suspicious gravel, this is the perfect village spawn for archaeologists. This seed has a peaceful meadow village surrounded by snowy hills, cherry groves, and winding rivers. But what you can find underneath this village is far from peaceful. Dig directly under this village and you'll drop into an ancient city that has combined with a stronghold. Luckily, the end portal couldn't be easier to find as it's generated right in the center of the city. The skulk-covered corridors down here make your route to the end even more intimidating than they already were. The final seed features a super rare occurrence where two floating ocean villages have generated extremely close together. To make these villages even more special, you can find them right at spawn when you enter this world. Since they are so close, they'll be easy to join together so that you can turn these into one big ocean city. Or if you and a friend wanted an ocean village each where you could be neighbors, you won't find a more perfect spawn than this. Let us know which seed was your favorite in the comments below, and if you could add one new village type to the game, which biome would you add it to? If you'd like to check out more amazing village seeds, click on the next video.